how my customer is thinking, what is the psychological setup of the customer, or why he's buying my product, what problem he is being looking to be solved through my product and service, how to understand or what is the role of customer psychology in the entire sales.
So I think the most successful entrepreneurs are people who have really cracked the code of understanding the customer psychology. One is definitely the gap analysis of the gap that the customer has for a product or service that you are providing. So that is the gap analysis. So they have already mapped that. Second is the customer wants value for money. That is his basic psychology. Third is the customer wants reliability of the transaction.
In this age of collaboration, how collaboration can help in reaching the right client?
So there are intentional collaborations, there are unintentional collaborations. When you go into a mall, all the brands are together in that same mall. Now that is not by intention, that is unintentional. The developer who built the mall had the intention of bringing brands together. But the brand which comes there is unintentionally there in a place which has got similar footfalls. So automatically he is going to leverage out of that. So in a mall, you'll have all the similar type of people selling different products with different brands. Like you'll have great clothing brands, you'll have great jewelry brands, you'll have great ice cream brands, you'll have great food brands together. So you're creating an ecosystem so that the customer can come in there and satisfy all his needs. And that's how footfalls get created. You cannot spend for every footfall that your business needs.
So in today's podcast, we are going to discuss a few challenges faced by business owners. And with us, we have Agnelorajesh sir, and we will be discussing about the buying psychology of customers. So many times, sir, people create a good product. People do a lot of marketing also, but the sale doesn't happen or the right kind of customers don't come. So to understand how my customer is thinking, what is the psychological setup of the customer, or why he's buying my product, what problem he is being looking to be solved through my product and service, how to understand or what is the role of customer psychology in the entire sales process.
So I think the most successful entrepreneurs are people who have really cracked the code of understanding the customer psychology. One is definitely the gap analysis of the gap that the customer has for a product or service that you are providing.
Correct.
So that is the gap analysis. So they have already mapped that. Second is the customer wants value for money. That is his basic psychology. He wants value for money. Third is the customer wants reliability of the transaction. Like after he has transacted with you, he should not regret कि यार क्यों मैंने इसका product लिया या क्यों मैंने इसका service लिया. There is such a lot of hardship after the transaction is done. So if there is reliability, he will look forward to completing the transaction with you repeatedly, not for one product. If you are into multiple businesses, he would like to deal with you for other multiple transactions. Like for example, a customer with Mahindra and Mahindra, if he is happy with the car, he will also be a member of Mahindra Holidays. He will also buy a house in Mahindra Construction. So how can you define that, refine that, and ensure that it is a consistent process with you as a brand or a business owner is what you need to convince your target audience and the target market that you are identifying. Customer psychology is critically important to be understood by every entrepreneur. In your business, I'm your customer. In my business, you are my customer. So as an entrepreneur, even if you put yourself in the shoes of your customer, of what he would expect, of what you would expect if you would have gone to become your own customer, you need to get the questions answered in a way where your product and service becomes the solution for your potential customer. So understanding that psychology is important. You can do that by getting into the shoes of the customer. You will be surprised to know, or many people would be surprised to know, that most of the entrepreneurship ventures have started because they faced a hardship of that particular product or service, and because of that they started those business processes. Now they might give a hardship to somebody else in some other format which will trigger that someone else to start another business of a similar nature.
Correct.
To solve the kind of problem that he faced by dealing with you.
Yes.
So this is how the process of entrepreneurship keeps going on like a relay race. So you really need to be as good as possible as an entrepreneur, and that can happen if you really understand the psychology of the customer extremely well. So it's an ongoing process, but you need to be always in the learning phase of what else can you know about your customer psychology so that you can satisfy his need. His need is more connected to his psychology than his actual need. So you really need to get his psychological questions answered first to fulfill his actual need. That is how what every successful entrepreneur does. Nobody imagined that one day we will get internet from satellites. Nobody imagined that. Okay, satellite phones are there for the last 20 years, but it was very expensive and it was for calls, not for data. But nobody imagined that you could get data from satellites. So the gray areas where the mobile connectivity is not reachable or not accessible, because of which data is not accessible, is now going to be a myth of the yesterday. Like Maharashtra government has signed with Elon Musk. Elon Musk was smart enough to do something which was never thought about. So now he's going to provide internet services via satellite. So just imagine the size of the market. It's unlimited. Every living human being needs internet connection today, and that's going to be provided seamlessly without being dependent on cell towers. Now that is magic, and see the size of the market that will happen. So you really need to understand the gap, and people like Elon Musk see beyond the gap. They create a whole market by itself, which encompasses everybody. So if you try to do that, he understood the customer psychology, that gray areas are disturbing to the client, to the customer. So now even on a flight, you will get the data speed that you get in your office or at your home. So even in the flight, you're going to get that. So every minute of your life, you're going to be connected to fast data, which is going to keep you connected to the rest of the world, making the whole world into a small, reachable, accessible, visible village. So that's how you need to understand what are the pain points of the customers, form the services or the products that they are enjoying, and then create a product or a service which can create that extra mile of your expectations to be satisfied.
Great. So many times, people, when they design a product or a service, the product is designed for solving one problem of a customer, or the service is designed to solve one problem of a customer. For example, pizza. Pizza is a fast food and you can get it immediately. That is one problem. But now the customer also wants the pizza in 20 minutes. That is the second problem from the same product. So I think this is the value we should identify, that from my product and service, how many number of problems I am solving at the same time. So how do you design this, and in your business, where have you implemented?
So this is a brilliant problem that lot of people face, that they want a pizza, they want it hot, they want it within 30 minutes, they want all of this. Now there is another additional, very extremely important want, and that want is it should also be healthy. Pizza is always connected with taste, but also the stigma is it is not healthy, because it is wheat, it is flour, it is not good for health, not good for digestion, etc. etc. One of the businesses that I am a part of is Sante Cuisine, which is in the space of restaurants. So Sante Cuisine has filled that gap 10 years back. This is our 10th year of operations for the brand. 10 years back, that healthy food can also be tasty. So we make a pizza which can be hot, which can be delivered within 30 minutes, and which also is healthy. So it is tasty to the tongue, healthy to the body. You don't get blurbs, you don't feel uncomfortable, you won't put on weight, because we make ragi based pizzas. So that is a market that we addressed, and that gave us a huge leeway into the market. So we make the healthiest pizzas possible in the world, and that has created my target audience base. There are people who are pizza lovers, but just because it is not healthy, they used to avoid doing that more often. Now, because of Sante Cuisine, you can do it very often. So this is how every product has a scope of improvement, meeting the expectations of people. Once upon a time, the old cars, the Ambassadors and the Fiat, जो पीछे की कांच होती थी ना विंडोज की, वो पूरी नीचे नहीं जाती थी. But nobody asked that, because nobody thought that the whole glass could go down into the door. The new modern car started with that the whole glass goes down, so you get more visibility, more breeze, you can keep your hand on the door handle. So till people didn't realize that this could also be done, it was done and people felt happy about it. These are all small developments which have changed the way people consume products or use products in their day-to-day life, till somebody did it. Wipers had to be done manually once upon a time. Then the automatic ones came, and after that sensors came. If it rains, the wiper goes on automatically, you don't even have to put it on. Then there were lights in the car, you have to put on the lever to take a right turn. Now when you turn your steering, automatically the right indicators get on. So these are all advancements that people are seeing, because there is some intelligent entrepreneur who's seeing that this is a gap which I can fulfill, This is something which will give an addition benefit to the customer, and this is what the customer will use to make his next buying decision.
Great.
So these are only after you understand the psychology of a customer can you provide solutions, can you provide answers, and it is not necessary that you will answer only questions asked. If you are a smart entrepreneur, you will also answer the questions which are never asked, but still you are answering them. That depends on the maturity of you being an entrepreneur and how far you can see, which is called vision, which is what Elon Musk does, which is what Microsoft did, which is what Anand Mahindra is doing, which is what Narayan Murthy did, which is what Ratan Tata did all his life, which is all what so many entrepreneurs keep doing day in, day out. They bring innovation, they answer unasked questions, and that is how they fine-tune the psychology of the customer base, which is already in the market. But by doing so, they are creating a new market altogether from themselves, for themselves.
Fantastic. I think earlier we used to feel being an entrepreneur is about understanding sales, marketing, finance. But I think now you should also be a psychologist if you want to learn, become a entrepreneur.
You have to be psychologist to understand your teams, your vendors, the government agencies, your customer, your investors, your stakeholders, everybody around you.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, you have to be a psychologist.
Great. So with understanding customer psychology, we come up with something called as a customer persona. Where is my customer? What is his age? What is his spending habits? What is his budget? What is his thought process? And things like that. Now, to identify your customers, we should also look at other products who has the same psychological customer, right? So in this age of collaboration, how collaboration can help in reaching the right clients?
So there are intentional collaborations, there are unintentional collaborations. Like for example, when you go into a mall, all the brands are together in that same mall. Now that is not by intention, that is unintentional. The developer who built the mall had the intention of bringing brands together, but the brand which comes there is unintentionally there in a place which has got similar footfalls. So automatically he is going to leverage out of that. So in a mall, you'll have all the similar type of people selling different products with different brands. Like you'll have great clothing brands, you'll have great jewelry brands, you'll have great expensive ice cream brands, you'll have great food brands together. So you're creating an ecosystem so that the customer can come in there and satisfy all his needs. And that's how footfalls get created. You cannot spend for every footfall that your business needs. You need to have footfalls which come on also because of somebody else spending for it. That's your smartness. So now that happens in the mall. But how many vendors can be in the mall or how many brands can be in the mall? What happens if the brand is full? So there are high streets. High street is also a concept which is in developed countries, which is happening rapidly in India, especially metro cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi and so on, where brands of a similar nature which has a common customer base are available in one street or in one locality. These are open air malls, I call them. They are not air conditioned from outside. Only when you get inside you get the cool air that you get in the mall. But these are in a lane, in an area, and that attracts footfall, which is the outcome of the collective efforts of all the brands of that high street or of that particular locality. So now common efforts are getting results to people who are a part of that particular ecosystem. That is critically important. Like once upon a time, computer education was my core business, and St. Angelo's Computers Limited, we had 43 outlets in Mumbai. So whenever I used to choose a location for my computer institute, I used to make sure that I open the institute in the most competitive zones where all brands were there, so that I could get a benefit of their efforts. So they used to do ads and we used to give leaflets to their inquiries and convert them to our institutes. So that was the smart thing that I could do, because I could not afford a full page Times of India page ad. So that is what I did. So in the thick of competition, I used to go and place myself and take the leverage of being present in the place which is considered to be a market of education, where people come to inquire about courses. So I am also available there. So if they go to my competition, they'll also come to me, and then I've got a fair chance to convert that into as my customer. Now this is the primitive method of what we did. What happens today is, if you know the psychology of the customer, if you know the target audience, then you can create advertising campaigns which can target only that category of people. Now these are called as programmatic ads. I'll give you an example. Everybody spends money for advertising so that they can get inquiries which can convert into footfalls, and that footfalls can convert into revenue. But if I spend 1 lakh rupees and I do a revenue of 4 lakhs by spending 1 lakh, so that is considered as return on ad spend, ROAS, which has given me 4x returns. But if I sharpen my target audience well, if I do programmatic ads where I have profiled my customer base and made possible through the help of technology that my ads can be visible only to my target audience, I could get a return on ad spend of 20x. Like I spend 1 lakh rupees and I can generate a revenue of 20 lakh rupees. Now, how can I do that? Should be the attempt and effort that I need to be putting in all the time. Now, this I can do only if I'm able to map my audience correctly. You get me? Like for example, if there is a very popular ENT doctor, then in that same location or in that same building, you can have a company which sells products which are recommended by ENT doctors. If there is an optician's shop near an ophthalmologist, a famous ophthalmologist, then his chances of getting customers improve. So you really need to place yourself where your target audience visits or is a part of or is always available in that zone, and then your customer acquisition cost reduces. So now every businesses are struggling and competing only on the basis of your customer acquisition cost. If your customer acquisition cost is high, your PAT, profit after tax, or net profit reduces. If your customer acquisition cost is low because of smart strategizing and right choices and strategic planning, your net profit or your profit after tax improves. If your PAT improves, it gives you better valuation to the business that you do. Now, all this happens if you are planning about your customer psychology is right.
Great. I think so. Psychology is directly connected to profit. You can actually
Absolutely
say that.
Absolutely.
Right? So thank you very much for these insights, and we will meet in the next podcast.
Thank you so much.